I'm Josh.
I'm Lewis.
I'm James.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Dan.
We're the Ragamuffins, and this is our Download Festival recap podcast. Yeah. Woo! If everyone's voice hurts a little bit.
Not mine.
Download 2025.
It was yesterday we came back.
Yesterday. So we're feeling not fresh physically, but the memories are still fresh in our mind.
Fresh in the mind.
Fresh in the mind. So I guess we'll start at the
Mind's
best place to
fresh.
start, which is Wednesday. The early entry.
What was the theme of Wednesday, Alex? Because you must have said this to me maybe 10 times throughout the whole day. I think this is the best Wednesday I've ever had.
Oh, I thought it was. I need a wee.
Oh, right.
I thought that. Yeah.
I do always need a wee. Yeah, I think it was the best first day we've ever had. At least for me, the best first day I've ever had at a Download. I think, we rolled into the car park with relative ease, got into the queue nice and easy. I think they opened the gates a little bit early, or earlier than midday at least. Getting in was, almost without hiccup, except for the Yamaha DJ set.
Oh, rest in peace, yeah.
We were scheming and plotting for Josh to do a little DJ set for us in camp, but security said, no,
sound
honey.
systems.
No sound.
So I gave them a little blast right there and then.
That was so good. You're like, well, if I can't take it in, watch this.
The standard security people were like, "Oh, don't know about that." So they got the big bold supervisor man to come over, didn't they? And I was a few people back from Josh, and all I saw was.
No, can't risk it, is what you said.
They-
I felt like saying, risk what?
A really fucking sweet time
Yeah.
to show up, hang the DJs,
Yeah,
and mode step.
They couldn't risk the doghouse being empty that night.
Yeah, that's it. So it was a bit of a weird move for me to put it in the wheelie bin.
But
then,
he said that they wouldn't be able to store it for you to set up and then go back.
so I booked it forward, got my wristband, came back, pulled it out of the bin, and then did a little DJ set as I was walking back to the car, and then walked into some barbed wire. I live quite
quiet.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
Don't, you don't get a fine for that at the end of the week.
Oh, cheek of it.
All right.
Cheeky.
Yeah, better have a drink.
Yeah, but no, I mean, yeah, I walked into some barbed wire.
That's metal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was another slight hitch with getting in on the Wednesday as well, in that some of us had read the communications from Download that they wanted us to install the official Download app and gain our entry via our tickets through the app. James and I did that and found that the app just would not load at all when we were waiting for the queue. The workaround, at least for me, was to try and get some signal and download the main Ticketmaster app and access my tickets that way, which still, with the amount of people and the lack of signal, took a bit of time and a bit of stress. But you didn't manage to get yours until they had a Wi-Fi hotspot at the front.
Yeah, so I think some people had the option they could add it to an Apple Wallet. It wouldn't let me.
Yeah,
It didn't even give me that option. But as soon as going to the wristband thing, they had a little QR code which you could scan, jump on a hotspot, and there. It was absolutely easy. So they kind of had prepared for that.
Because
so that's good planning.
I did feel like they opened the gates and then they let the first lane of people through, and then they didn't seem to let anyone else through for a little while. So I would speculate and wonder whether they encountered some kind of issue with the app at that point, and then maybe put that Wi-Fi thing in to fix it. So either way, a slight problem with the app there, but at the same time they seem to find a quick workaround for it.
I think a bit of a theme again for the week is great organisation. Stuff that we've noticed in the past just wasn't an issue anymore. So yeah, I think if a few years ago, if they'd have done that, and no one could get their app up to work, it'd have been right. It's all stopped, and we don't know what the hell to do. But it seemed like they just sorted it out straight away. It just wasn't a problem anymore.
On the organisation, just kind of sticking with that, I never had any problems with Portaloos.
Nah.
I think there could have been more water points in the main arena, but especially around Village, it was easy to get to water points. And there were times where maybe in the arena, if you went to one water point and it was absolutely stacked because the band had just finished, you could very easily go to another one and there wouldn't have been a massive queue.
It's about timing more than anything.
Yeah, it was. But there could have been a couple more, especially seeing as it was absolutely boiling.
Yeah.
But otherwise, on those 2 points, way better than it's ever been in previous years, I would say.
I think to be fair, that's pretty much most of our negative points out of the way pretty early on there, isn't it?
Yeah. I think
I've got one.
toilets wise, they were the best toilets I've ever seen at a festival.
Yeah, shall we explain what the toilets were like this year?
It was airport. It was airplane toilets. It was fucking bright. It was brilliant. You did what you needed to do. Pressed a button, and it would just get obliterated.
Yeah,
So-
that's the poo flying away.
I think this is the first time I've done a festival where I didn't see a single other person's turd the whole time I was there.
It's when I went into one and it had malfunctioned and it just was continuously going. It was like the toilet from hell.
You were in there for a good 10 minutes as well.
You really enjoyed that one, didn't you?
Yeah. But no, like, we got in, set up camp relatively easily. I can't remember what was our
Purple.
point.
James had 1 point.
I just got want to say on the negative, I noticed in particular on second stage, the accessibility ramp, there was no covering. So either it's going to be boiling hot and you have got no shelter whatsoever, or it's going to piss it down and you've got no shelter whatsoever. So that's the only kind of negative I saw from an organisational standpoint, that I looked at that, saw it, and they should have catered for that in particular. Otherwise, everything else was good, but that should have been better in my opinion.
I definitely agree. And my sister's got complex special needs, so if she was to go to an event like that, she would have 100% have used them facilities. And I think I said to Connor when I was walking past, I was like, it's insane they haven't got any covering on there. Even if it was like half, and it wouldn't be hard to put a big shelter up above it, because
It's not like you'd be blocking the view of anyone behind.
exactly.
And they
and
could have
then-
adapted for
and
that, but they
like
didn't.
you said, if it's really hot, they've got cover. If it rains like hell, they've got cover. At the moment, they're just out in the elements. They can't even go anywhere because you're basically stuck in there once you.
I do feel like this year, any of the minor issues we had, they seemed to like come up with a solution and
Yeah.
resolve them quite quickly. So yeah, now we've got those out of the way.
The mirrors and sinks were a nice addition as well, by the way.
Well, actually having
Yeah.
a place to wash your hands instead of just being. Yeah.
Oh, upgraded showers.
Oh, the shower situation.
Upgraded
was
shower
perfect.
situation. That was really, really good. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah, we set up camp with relative ease. Like, our positioning in purple camp was close, but not too close to like the toilets and stuff like that. Wasn't too far away from District X. I personally think it was spot on, really. And and then our first port of call of having a little peruse of District X was chili eating contest, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Our boy Tiger fared against the other mad lads.
You got to be a certain level of mad to have signed up, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like
Good
I'm
effort.
all right for that. Like good on him. All the power to him.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done that.
I didn't make it over in time to see him, but I've heard he gave it a really good go. So
Well,
fair play.
it's better than I would have done
He
anyway.
gave it a good try, and was the only one of us to have the balls to do it. So fair fucks.
Yeah.
You may remember that I mentioned that I was excited to see Exist Immortal that day as well. And I'm sitting there in camp having like a really nice time, and I go to Meg like, oh man, like probably should get ready to go see Exist Immortal. Then she's like, they've played, and that's just me. I'm just full of whimsy and silliness that sometimes I get a bit carried away and forget about fun bands like Exist Immortal. So
The first band that you wanted to see of the whole festival.
yeah, sorry. I'll catch them again because hopefully
Yeah, they exist immortally, so there'll be another chance.
set them up to knock them down.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's like the nice bit about the early entry as well, is that there is stuff going on in District X, but if you want to, you can just sort of sit around your camp, chat shit, sink a few beers.
What did we do on the evening on the Wednesday, Josh?
We went to go see some wrestling accompanied by Slay Dougie playing some songs.
I prefer the wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's completely fair. I've definitely seen worse wrestling.
I've seen better, but you know.
You know what? I've not seen worse people dressed in dog suits playing metal covers of kids' songs, but that's because that's the only time I've seen that.
Oh, that'll do it.
So you've not seen any better. so-
Yeah, exactly.
It's a hell of a gig to get in it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll rephrase that. That was the best time that I've ever seen people in dog suits
Glass
playing
half full,
playing metal
glass half
covers
empty.
of kids' songs.
I hated the wrestling. I thought it was really boring.
You just like flipping
No,
off the
you
heels.
loved it.
He liked flipping off the
I
heels.
like entertaining Alex and Josh by doing the complete opposite of what you're supposed to do
But then
during certain parts.
It's
but-
when he started to flip off everything.
Yeah, no, you weren't doing the opposite. You started doing it right. Like, it was like everyone was booing this one guy, so you were like, "Oh, okay." You were boo.
And then I realised it was funny just to boo everyone, and then even
And
at
then
one
the duck
point the
came
ref.
out, which is clearly the hero, and you're like,
Yeah, I can't get on with it. but
I was entertained.
it was entertaining to be there. I just didn't actually like watching the wrestling, but
Do you know what we can?
some people out there loved it.
Collectively, what we can get behind though is the booking finally of Venga Boys at Download Festival 2025. Years in the making, years in the asking. Did we get to enjoy that sentiment?
Not on Wednesday night, we didn't.
Is it?
It's Thursday, Josh. God, we're too tired for this.
But what we can get behind is Sophie K's 2000s club night.
Yes.
Yes. Big
Yeah.
up, big up playing a video of the Robo Sapien at Download Festival. Didn't have that on the bingo card.
That was
Yep.
also on Thursday then.
No, that was Wednesday. I'm sure it was.
No, because it was after.
Shut
It was when we couldn't get into Venga Boys.
What the fuck did we
So-
do on Wednesday night then?
Wrestling, and then we went back to the
And then that
tent
was it?
Went to sleep, yeah.
Oh, okay. Right, well, so Thursday then.
All right.
Fucking hell. Maybe the memories aren't as fresh as
The
we
reason
thought
why
they
we
were.
went to the 2000s bangers was because we couldn't get into Venga Boys.
Yeah,
Comment down below if you had a Robo Sapien or
Or the
you had-
Robo Raptor.
Yeah.
I've still got one of them at home.
There was even a Spider-Man one, a Homer Simpson one. But comment down below if you had one, or comment down below if you remember being
Homer
like inherently
Simpson.
jealous that like one of your neighbours had one.
Thursday.
Thursday.
We wake up and me and Glennie said to each other, our to-do list today is nothing and then the Venga Boys. One of those
We did one of those things.
One of those things was done very well.
Yep. One of them things was royally fucked, wasn't it? So
we sat around and we did sweet fuck all for most of the day.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Hang on though.
Hang on.
We had a big meet up on
I
that day.
said most of the day.
most of the day,
Most
Alright.
of the day.
most of the day, we were like, we're just going to do nothing that we don't like. We're not going to be like, oh, we have to be here for this. So because the meetup wasn't until like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's true.
So we did absolutely nothing. When did the meetup? Meetup was unbelievable. Like seeing
That
all the
was
people,
awesome, wasn't it?
like meeting all the creators, and also people coming up to us that were like, "Oh, we really like the videos, really like the band." That was what blew our minds. People were like, "Oh yeah, I listened to Worst Wishes, and I think you guys are sick." Like, what? We weren't expecting that. That was awesome.
Yeah, big up to everyone that came down to that. We really didn't expect
Loved it.
like
It was
the
so
size of
good.
turnout we did. Neither did the other creators there as well.
Yeah.
Everyone is like so grateful for everyone that came down to it. Like it was initially, the idea initially was just so that us creators could all meet each other because we're always trying to hang out at Download and usually never have signal. So we kind of arranged something beforehand and thought we'd invite you guys to come along as well. But you didn't expect that many of you. So thank you so much.
It was genuinely just so nice. Not just them, but throughout Download, everyone that came and said hello, said nice things. And if you were there and you really enjoyed it, already some of us from the creators, we've all spoken and we want to make it a potentially annual thing. So if you couldn't make it by any chance, next year might be the opportunity for that. But honestly, every conversation meant the world to us, whether it was for Ragamuffins, whether it's for Worst Wishes. So thank you so much.
And it was great to see so many people from the Ragamuffin Club there as well. If you want to join that community on Facebook, there'll be a link in the description below. We always continue the conversation. It doesn't just stop here on the podcast or on the vlogs. It continues over there. So come and join us.
So after the meetup, me and Alex carried on doing Sweet FA. Was the hot dog eating competition before or after? It was before, wasn't it? Yeah. So obviously we will speak about that. But to get to the pressing point of nothing, Venga Boys, we did nothing. We watched hot dog eating. We had the meetup. We went back, did a bit more of nothing, and then we're like, we've got loads of time to the Venga Boys.
The thing is, you know what?
It'll be all right.
I feel
It
like
wasn't
we,
okay,
we kind of knew that we'd left it too late.
but we were
But
still hopeful.
But we were enjoying ourselves at camp.
It was one of them where we were like, if we get up and leave now and we stood around for 2 hours, we're going to be like, oh yeah, that was fun for half an hour. But like, we'll chance it.
And we're also a bit like, even if we don't get into the tent, we can still hang about outside the tent and have a boogie.
It was chaos.
But we didn't
Absolute
anticipate
chaos.
that the whole of that half of District X
It was
would
just,
just be absolutely rammed.
and you couldn't hear or see anything. So yeah, so
all thing is that's the thing as well. All the sound was contained to inside that tent.
it's done really well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, so there wasn't even the old trick of going to the opposite side of where everyone enters. No, it was just a thick wall of people. We were like, oh well, we'll have to just call that one a day, and we'll have to laugh about this one later. So then we went to
But as luck would have it,
the den, and we saw
Sophie K was doing an absolutely banging noughties throwback set. with some great
2000s
visuals.
noughties with some old TV adverts and stuff that we all remember watching when we were kids. There's a big backdrop, and people in there were loving it, wasn't it? And it wasn't too busy because everyone was at bloody Venga Boys.
Metalheads are so fucking funny.
The two offerings that night was Venga Boys or Naughty's Bangers, and people were just going fucking crazy. In both
Fuck
tents.
Sleep Token, they're not metal.
But we are skipping over a monumental moment of the day, which was the old hot dog eating, wasn't it? You, Curtis, Stu, and I can't remember the other guy's
Sean.
name. Sean.
From Stu's group.
Probably one of the best comebacks I've ever seen was Curtis locking in in the first round. It was a bit ropey right at the start, wasn't it? In the first round,
I thought you guys were dead and buried.
Yeah.
I thought it was gone.
They at one point
I thought Curtis wasn't even going to have a chance to have it even have a nibble at his hot dog.
I thought Mance was choking. If I'm quite
at one
honest.
point they were 2 hot dogs behind, and the other team were on the last hot dog. Curtis locked the hell in, and just finished
Apparently,
it off.
in that team that we beat in that first round was the winner from last year's hot dog eating competition. So at least we can say that.
Set in the early rounds.
But yeah, you guys won the first round somehow. It was insane. And the second round, it all went a bit wrong, didn't it?
Yeah, I lost that, crashed out in the semi-finals.
So some people were just up there for a free meal, I think.
I mean, that was literally our point when we were organised this before. It's like, fuck it, we'll get some free hot dogs, and it'll be a laugh. And
Were they nice hot dogs?
They weren't too bad, actually. Yeah, I'd gone with the idea of not eating beforehand.
The gherkins were nice. Thanks, James.
Oh yeah, I gave you you asked me for a gherkin.
That was so funny.
You just went, "Oi, watch this."
Josh leaned over, and I thought maybe he was giving some bit of words of wisdom, bit of coaching from the sidelines.
have a
And he
gherkin.
turns around with just 2 gherkins. He's like, well, fair enough.
Another layer of the entertainment was watching the 3 paramedics on standby, just kind of getting, as it progressed, closer and closer to you guys, to be honest with you, because this was for context, this was like a relay where you had to do 4 people to get 1 in, rather than I thought it was going to be you sat there in front of a whole pile of.
That's what I was hoping for, and because last time it was much more like a volume thing. And that's what I was banking on. I can eat a lot. I can't eat fast.
Well, last time
so
it
that
was
fucked me over.
Last time it was right. Everyone eat your hot dog. Once everyone had finished, go again, go again, go again. And you just drop out once you've done 12. You're like, I can't do another one. Whereas this one, it was like a challenge of speed, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think James felt a bit shortchanged because in the end he only ate 2 hot dogs.
Yeah, I was hoping for a lot more.
He was starving.
I was hoping to not have dinner afterwards or even breakfast the next morning. But
When's the pudding round?
Friday, the music starts.
We did a pretty good job of getting to the arena when we needed to.
Mm.
it was so sassy.
So we went with the intention of catching Sim. I think we were maybe caught up in a bit of an issue with actually getting in, to the point where they'd already started playing and there was a massive sort of bottleneck of people trying to get in. But we all kind of managed to get a pretty good spot for people.
Fantastic set, wasn't it, Glennie?
Oh, it was unbelievable. It's exactly what we expected.
I mean, to see that band grow from being in the Apple and Parrot at Burn It Down, was that last year or year before?
It was only
It was
last year.
last year. Fucking hell. To just absolutely demolishing the Avalanche tent. Fucking one of the first band or one of the first bands of that stage
We
that
saw
day.
anyway.
But yeah, just absolutely fantastic. Their songs sound massive.
I was saving until this moment to let you two know that we bumped into a Ragamuffin viewer, Connor, big up, nice to meet you, and your partner Amber, who shouted to me through the tunes, I'm here, this is Dan and Alex,
Yeah, that's
so
what we
it
like.
was really refreshing to see you going absolutely fucking mental, and you saying that was due to these boys' recommendation, and I wanted to save that for this moment so you could get their raw
Glad you
reaction.
guys had a good time.
And big up, nice
That's what
to
we
meet
like.
you, genuinely.
There were a lot of people that came in and spoke to us and said stuff like, I've been to see this band this weekend because of your recommendation, or I've come to certain festivals because of your recommendations and stuff, and that's part of why we do it. We just love to expose people to new music and new experiences and stuff. So yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
After Unpeople, we kind of found our new meeting spot, which was absolutely bloody fantastic, by the way. Having a locked-in meeting spot for that whole festival kind of meant that I only watched 1.5 sets without somebody where normally that's not normally the case. I'm dipping around here, there, and everywhere on my own little adventures and side quests.
It's the same for everyone. Usually we're a lot more separated, and it's like we meet back at like the end of the day. Sometimes even back at camp. At, like,
it's
right
like, how was the headline? And we haven't seen each other since 9 o'clock in the morning.
This is like the most we've been together as a group for the whole
Wings and chips.
The whole festival. Shout out Wings and Fries.
Shout out Wings and
Fries.
And it's also like, even if we hadn't arranged to meet there at a certain time, like, you just know, I'll just go to Wings and Fries, see if anyone's there.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, there's someone there with the same idea, the same thought.
There's probably some viewers right now who are probably like, well, duh. But also at the same time, no, it's sometimes honestly the simple things that you kind of sometimes overlook. It's like at Slam Dunk when I realised I didn't have Robin Steve's literal phone number. Do you know what I mean? Like, these things, like, you don't think of it at the time, but it's a thing. As we were there for our first meeting at Wings and Fries, we caught CKY, who, I've got to be honest with you, were probably one of the most naff bands of the whole entire thing, and even 96 Quite Bitter Beings, which I've always kind of wanted to see as a lover of the Tony Hawk games. I was just like, yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah, it was just kind of, it wasn't bad, it was just a bit like, that's happening.
But that did lead us into one of, I think, my favourite sets of the whole weekend. And that was Boston Manor on the main stage. And it was one of my favourite sets for a few reasons. Number one, the band absolutely rules. Number two, I think their set list in particular, like, I think it was just all bangers. Like, and they definitely sort of catered like their heavier stuff towards. And not necessarily bands don't have to do that, but I feel like you got to play to your strengths in some situations. And they were like, yeah, fuck it, we'll just let people mosh.
Sliding Doors sounded massive.
Oh, yeah, unreal. But again, like I said earlier, like, the thing that was my favourite thing about it was the fact that our group that all went into the pit pretty much stayed together, even within the pit, which even that's a rarity sometimes. You go in and suddenly you just disperse and don't see each other, or maybe you see like, oh, Glennie's the other side of that circle pit or whatever. But we were proper like in the trenches together, like helping people crowd surf, pitting together.
It was like 5 or 6 times after the show, walking around, just like even like the days after, where I heard people going, "Oh, that Boston Manor set was so good," or I even heard someone say it. Oh, my favourite one so far has been Boston Manor.
Yeah, generally, I've seen Boston Manor so many times, and obviously I was excited for this set going into it, but it still absolutely surpassed all of my expectations. Just had everything, just finger pointing to like every word, moshing, like little walls of death and stuff, circle pits, crowd surfing. It was just so much fun.
They really took advantage of that slot, didn't they?
And you know what? When you're at the front in a crowd at the main stage of Download Festival, sometimes even if you look back, you can't actually see how many people behind you. It's only today when I've seen some photos from the stage of that set. Mm-hmm. They had one hell of a crowd, which is so good to see.
Hell yeah. Who saw North Lane?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw a few North Lane songs.
I saw 2, I think.
I watched the whole set.
What did you think?
I thought they sounded fucking brilliant. Mm-hmm. Really, really tight and just like crisp. And it wasn't even really a set. Like I'm somewhat familiar with like their catalogue. More some of the earlier stuff than the later stuff, but even still. But it wasn't particularly a set that I recognised a lot of. Mm-hmm. But even with that being said, like, and this was the thing that shocked me across the whole weekend, and I'll bring up a couple more sets as we sort of go through it. But like, the amount of times where I was watching bands and didn't know anything, and I was like, this still sounds so good, and like kept me engaged the whole time. So North Lane were like that. I thought like just really, really good. I unfortunately just had to conserve a bit of my energy because Trophy Eyes was afterwards. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I stood there and I was pretty much blown away by it, to be honest.
I thought they were fucking fire. So, who saw Our Boys in Graphic Nature?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, awesome. There's not really much more to say that we haven't already said about this band. What is great is that they were on the same stage they played 2 years ago, but a few slots higher up. So to be able to see progression is sick. Tent was full as well, and they sounded awesome. Something I'll touch on as well. You guys mentioned how when a band just sounds great, it kind of engages you. We've criticised some of the sound issues that Downloads had in the past. I don't think I encountered any this year.
The only one issue I had with sound was when me and Josh watched The Darkness, but that was purely
Sure.
because the mics. It sounded like the mic was dodgy, didn't it?
Okay.
Because when he was talking into it, it was fine, but the second he started singing, it would disappear. That was the only sound issue. In the tents this year, I think it's the best it's ever sounded. Every single set, especially with that Graphic Nature one, it was so boomy, but then also really crisp. And it just made that. They sound good anyway, but to have such a good sound in such a big tent like that, it was just perfect.
No, I completely agree. What was quite cool actually was seeing Connor's response to it afterwards as well.
Yeah.
First time ever seeing them, and he was like, "That was even better than I expected it to be."
Look, a bit of context for the viewers. Connor's music tastes are basically like metalcore and it's like drum and bass and hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
So Graphic Nature is a band where those things kind of like really come together for him. So he was really excited for this set and he lived up to his expectations from what he was saying.
Strong day, this one.
Yeah.
Because next up was a band that we hold quite dear to our hearts as quite strong.
Sad boys.
We're strong, sad boys.
Strong, sad boys. A strong influence to our band. Trophy Eyes. Fucking hell.
What a show.
What a show. Yeah. Probably one of my favourite sets of the weekend. Sort of literally from the first note, I found myself that 1 second I was sort of with you all, next second I was in there in the dust, in the mosh.
I got some great footage of you just going mental.
And then it's one of those classic things like you were saying earlier, like once I help up one crowd surfer as a tall gentleman, that's it. I've kind of like clocked in then, and I don't mind, by the way. Oh my goodness, not actually complaining. But that I put a proper shift in on that one. Clocked out. I was like, it's good overtime, Right at the end, they were fantastic. My finger got worn out from pointing. It was really special, inspiring. Great to see the reaction as well. To be honest with you, another thing that really cemented this is like seeing bands like that at Download Festival as well. It's helping to kind of show and cement that I would say this is more of an alternative music festival rather than the metal festival. Donington. And if that set wasn't good enough, right? I'm not going to lie to you boys, I was the cat that got the cream after that set. Because it was like, well, what are we doing now? And it's like, let's go get a good spot for Opeth. And I was just kind of like, hold your horses. You just got to trust me, all right? I've got a really good feeling about the next band, Crossfaith, all right? And it was one of those things where literally, as their set progressed, it was all of these like kind of looking at me and giving me the look of, like, okay. And
they were solid, weren't
oh my God, they fucking brought it and then some.
Talk about energy.
Yes.
It was pure energy.
I'll get onto a load of reasons why I love Green Day later. I think Crossfaith was the best set on Friday by a fucking mile.
That's so good.
The way when he opened it up for the Wall of Death and literally the whole fucking tent front to back was split. I've never seen a band do that before, apart from seeing like the Slaughter to Prevail massive one. This is probably the biggest, longest Wall of Death I've ever seen. They sounded immense, and just the energy on stage.
The drummer was a nutter.
And
Throwing his stick up every 2
amazing stick
seconds.
tricks everywhere, amazing feels, and it's one of those things. Back when we did Slam Dunk in 2015 in Birmingham, I want to say that one was.
That's Hatfield.
Was it Hatfield? Yeah. Hatfield Uni. And we're walking past them. I think it was to probably go and see. I think it was Stick to Your Guns were like in one of the inside bits. And I'm watching like 5 minutes of that set and being like, I need to check out that band. And I never have done since, but they've always been someone. If I'm like, if I get the chance, I'll try and catch them again. I'm fucking sold. It was incredible. It was absolutely fucking amazing.
It really, really was good. Like, wasn't it?
It was nice that it was a bit of a shock as well, because I'd never really heard of him. I was like, because I wanted to stay in the tent because my favourite band of the day was on next. But yeah, it was I just stood there just like, what?
Yeah,
what's going on here?
Every single one of us that stayed there came away just mind blown.
Yeah, and then
you still got.
Well, the problem. The thing is with that is that it set the bar really fucking high, and then when Opeth, and I was just like, oh, like it was like, oh no, I liked that more, very much so. Like the contrast was ridiculous. And then when Matey Boy was like, "Who is McFly? What is that?" I was like, no.
What is a McFly? Is it something to do with Back to the Future?
Like I don't know what.
Not on my watch. You don't disrespect McFly.
I have no idea if that was like all in good fun, but I just thought it was a really like this is like quite a prestigious moment for any band. Like I don't know, that was just an odd move. I don't know if he was truly mocking them or just like
I wasn't there, but it sounds a bit like they're not a metal band, are they?
That's how I don't know if that was like what they were going for, but I think sadly, however they did it kind of felt a bit perceived that way. So I've seen them before, and I was definitely in like a different headspace, and like was like really involved in it, like oh yeah, like a pretentious jazz guy, like. But this one, I don't know. I think I'm serious.
I don't doubt you for a second.
Like.
Well, I'll say, like, at this point on the Friday, I was starting to feel that it was a bit like Slam Dunk Festival, in the sense of it's just so busy and so many bands packed into one day. It's usually, like, I don't usually get that feeling at Download of, like, rushing from stage to stage and band to band. But I guess it's almost like a testament to how stacked the lineup was on this day in particular, that I ended up feeling like that.
You're a busy little bee.
And I don't think there's necessarily more bands on during the day. I think there's, I guess, just more bands that fit mine and our kind of tastes. Which brings us on to a band that I was really excited to see this weekend, which is Weezer, on the main stage. I was expecting like all the hits, really, really excited for it, and they did play all the hits, but it did feel like they were kind of spaced out with a bit of filler in between. And I guess if I was more of a less of a casual Weezer fan, because I've always loved like the hits, just never really delved further into their discography. It felt like the highs were really high, but the lows were a little bit sort of slow, and almost like you're waiting for them to play Pork and Beans saying so. My name is Jonas, but those songs went off, and we had a really good time. It was the bits in between where it felt like we were kind of waiting. Wasn't it?
I couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah.
I echo that sentiment, like word for word. Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. I thought they were fun.
So I stayed at the Avalanche tent because I wanted to have good standing position for McFly, which we'll get into. So after Cross Faith, it was Elliot Manor. Minor. I always say it wrong. That's why you jumped in straight away, wasn't it?
I was ready for that.
Didn't really do anything for me, but it wasn't there for me. Apparently, it was their first festival slot in 10 years or something. So I just sort of used it as a time to sit down and just chill. And then was happy I did, because that tent packed out very, very quickly for one of my favourite sets, especially of today, but probably of the whole festival.
And the reason why his sexy voice is extra sexy.
Well, it was way worse than this. I've got way more voice back than I had 2 days ago. Jesus Christ. I sounded more like James. McFly. Absolutely smashed it. They came on with the perfect attitude of, this is funny that we're here, isn't it? And just did every song that everyone wanted to hear.
I saw a clip where they trolled everyone a bit.
With the Wall of Death?
Getting them to open the pit.
Yeah, Dougie was like, we've never had a Wall of Death before. You know what to do. And this is our heaviest song. And of course, it's all about you. But people still moshed to it. And the whole crowd laughed at the same time, which was brilliant. I think it was during One for the Radio that I blew my vocal cords up, because there's a great bit where the song goes down and Danny goes, here's another song for the radio. And I did it. It sounded great. But the second I stopped, I was like, oh, that didn't feel very good. I've done something here. But me being an idiot, I carried on screaming and shouting and having a good time.
Why not?
But yeah, phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. I think everyone that was there loved it as well, because I haven't seen a single thing of people being like, oh, they wasted that slot. Someone else better could have been on that people actually wanted to listen to, which I was expecting. But no, it seemed like everyone just loved it. And they had a great time. So yeah, happy with McFly.
My experience of it sort of also just gives us another opportunity to sort of praise Download for fixing problems from previous years. Busted last year was a bit bloody busy. Couldn't get in for love nor money. And I think they maybe I don't know if that was maybe the sole reason or what, but a big contributing factor into them having a screen outside the Avalanche stage this year. And so that allowed me, because like you said, the tent filled up pretty quickly for McFly, and I was just too bloody hot. And I thought, if I get in there, I will get even more hot, and then I'll just combust. So I just got some cans of water and sat outside and just watched it on the screen, and bloody loved it. It was just a really nice, very chilled vibe. People outside were just still singing along and clapping and having a good time and getting up and dancing and stuff. So yeah, credit to Download for sort of, I guess, making sure that people that couldn't get in were still able to have some sort of experience from it.
Well, they didn't have any speakers outside, did they?
No, but it was loud enough.
But you could hear it.
You could hear it. It was fine. Yeah. So yeah, that was my experience of it. And then by the time it was done, I met up with the rest of you boys, and
we headed to Wings and Fries.
Wings and Fries.
And then the main stage for the first headliner. I've always been a bit of a casual Green Day fan, but I really enjoyed this set.
I think every single person in our group just had the best time.
It was just so much fun.
I think it's the most fun I've had at a headline set, hands down. Like it wasn't even my favourite musically, but just the whole experience of the whole thing. And I know that us as a group, we just had a great time.
Yeah, we were in a perfect spot in a way, because we didn't get that close, but we weren't too far away that we were sort of out of it. But we had enough space around us for us to just basically just sing and dance and dance with each other and just have fun, and like,
whose pigs are these?
It was like, it was one of those ones where it was like, this is the whole point of coming to a festival with your mates, is like for experiences like that. Shout out to The Rain for being a paid actor.
Oh, the timing was perfect.
You know, he sings "Here Comes the Rain Again" in "Wake Me Up When September Ends."
Have you seen the video of him looking up?
I see him look up as well.
And I felt it on my skin, and I thought that there is no way.
Apparently, that very day was the 20th anniversary of that song being released.
20 years has gone so fast.
That whole set was just banger after banger, smile after smile. Everyone was just in a great mood.
That might be one of our most treasured moments. That actually, the more I think, like, genuinely, I say a lot of silly shit, but I actually mean that. Like, that was fun, boys. That was special. Cheers, Green Day.
Yeah, thank you very much, Green Day, for probably putting on our favourite ever headline that we've ever watched.
And on to Saturday.
Before we move on to the next day, something we forgot to mention about the village is the Megastore. I don't know if any of you guys went for a little look around at any point.
I perused.
Me and Em did on Saturday morning.
Yeah. They seem to just have really lent into the Download brand and just have, like, anything you can think of. They've probably slapped a Download dog on it and selling some kind of variation of it. But it doesn't feel like it's been done in like a...
It's not cartoony, is it?
Yeah, it's not been done in like a low effort way. They seem to have really designed some actual really good stuff, which people... Well, this is one of the Mary White ones. These are really cool. They've got like a P & Co collab as well.
It's where you can wear it without people instantly going, "Oh, he's wearing festival merch."
Yeah, it doesn't feel like merch. But even like just the random items like the cereal bowls, like the tins and stuff, some of the pin badges, the rubber ducks, like they don't feel novelty and done.
Yeah.
They actually do feel well made and well designed and like actual collectible items that have value to them and some worth.
And even just nice mementos if you don't want to put up the money for a t-shirt or a hoodie. You know, you can just a nice little rubber ducky.
Yeah.
Beautiful little tokens to take away. So yeah.
And they had like a little Build-A-Bear thing going on there this time. Like
the little t-shirts.
There's a Download dog that you could put a little t-shirt and a little cut-off jacket, battle jacket thing on. That was only like 20 quid as well. So they could easily have made that more expensive if they wanted to. So we can criticise these big companies and stuff as much as we want, but if they're actually making nice, valuable, well-made items, then why not?
Again,
Saturday.
We did a really good job of getting into the arena when we needed to. For
lots of bands as well.
For the first band of the Apex stage, we're all kind of long-time fans. Static Dress.
Amazing.
Yeah, because I'd got up nice and early this day to go and see Lestelle, and I thought, I'm often like the first one up at a festival. I thought, right, I'd been for my little walk around the village and stuff. In fact, that's the morning I went to the Megastore as well, I think. And then came back, and you guys were already on the way to the arena to go and see Static Dress.
Yeah, we knew we were in for a long day, but it was worth it, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
Like-
they were fucking fantastic.
So
I
good.
wasn't expecting pyro so early on as well. That was really cool. They sounded immense. It was really satisfying to watch like Kadeem from Loathe standing side stage just going nuts as well. They deserved that slot. They deserved the reaction. It was mega. Yeah. Great, fucking brilliant start to the day.
And it looks like the next time we see them will be at Burn It Down Festival where they're headlining.
Great
Very
booking.
good.
It's gonna
That's
be
really
great.
cool. Look forward to that.
We went from Static Dress. We ran up the hill to Dogtooth to watch our boys in Listel absolutely smash it as always.
Oxford, baby.
Well, we did throw out an Oxford baby at one point. We weren't sure if Mike heard us or not. Yeah, amazing. Just again, there was something about the sound at the Dogtooth this year. It was just made everything just. It was so crisp. But yeah, it was. And also that tent was really full.
Yeah.
Like I was really impressed with just how many people were there. And I'd actually spoke to Mike before, the day before, when we were waiting for McFly. He said that they only really had time to do 4 songs, and they were a bit felt a bit rushed. But watching it, you wouldn't know. It was like they just commanded the stage, commanded the crowd, and sounded amazing.
There was one point as well when Adam kind of announced the last song and was like, the words are really easy for this one. It's breathe me in, and the crowd just roared.
Yeah.
So that was like a really beautiful moment to see all their hard work paying off, and have so many people excited for them. And they're going out on a headline tour later this year, so make sure you get tickets.
Now for us, it was another little sprint down the hill. We were very back and forth today, weren't we?
Who was it, James?
Loathe. I should have done that.
Oh, yeah, I was
Gonna
going to say
speak
that
up.
was risky.
The mighty Loathe.
What we have been waiting a long time for is new music from Loathe, but we got that live, and it was
We did.
sick.
Yeah, they sounded amazing, didn't they?
Yeah, they're just a fantastic band. I feel like their just potential is almost unlimited. Like they already released quite an innovative and very genre exploring album with I Let It In, and it feels like Gifted Every Strength sort of is pushing that even further to its limits. The new song that they opened the set with as well was sort of just bonkers in a lot of different ways. So yeah, just amazing for them to sort of be back on home soil and really just dominating a UK crowd again. So yeah.
And it's another UK band getting a big shot on the main stage.
Yeah.
So
I
kudos to Download for booking them in that slot.
Probably potentially my favourite set of the day. I think, to be honest, the amount of production they had was insane. Just not again, you said about Static Jest production, having that back to back on main stage so early was absolutely phenomenal, and they sounded fantastic live.
And that kick
absolutely blown
drum,
away.
that kick drum was like a punch to the face every single time.
The combination of the kick drum and the bass, I could just feel it vibrating there. It was absolutely.
I imagine
insane.
that's what it would have felt like being in Tokyo when Godzilla's on the way. Just feeling that.
Instead of running for your life, you're there just 2-stepping. Talking about bands.
Are we?
Sorry.
Welcome to the Ragamuffin Music Podcast.
It's all Hatebreed. Fucking no stranger to big slots. And it was a deserved slot because they fucking brought the noise. And they brought a big inflatable devil thing, which I thought was really cool. I don't know. I'm a sucker for silly shit like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, they sounded fucking great. Yeah. If you sort of tough guy, sort of driven hardcore that borders into Lamb of God-ish metal, sort of metallic hardcore. If you like that, they're the ones who sort of really have paved the way for that sort of thing. And yeah, they're banging.
Wasn't it Hatebreed that had the big inflatable
It was one of my
balls?
favourite moments of the weekend.
I thought so.
Hatebreed had bought some giant balls of death,
That was it.
which was just 2 giant inflatable balls they chucked out into the crowd. The wind brought one of them directly over to us. We were just sat by Wings and Fries.
Well, Alex, was it you that said?
And
Josh said, "Do you think that's going to get to us?"
I'm pretty sure. As soon as we saw them come over the barrier, Josh went, "Do you think they'll get this far?"
They did.
And four of them came directly towards us to the point where Lewis was there with his arms open and ready to embrace it.
Yeah. Well, you've got a great bit of footage of me not moving my back to it.
Yeah.
And I'm
and
just
it's
like chilling, chatting, and then it's just
bounding
like,
over behind us.
The other one made its way all the way up the back, and we were just like, "What the fuck?"
What is that? Yeah, well, that nearly killed me.
So what was?
Well, the one that came towards us just went over our heads and then ended up going like over the back of like one of the food vendors.
And then you saw the food vendors like come out and look around like, what's going on?
Yeah, I just imagine like someone, like one of the burger flippers or something, has just gone on his break. He's sat at the back on his phone, and then he just looks up, and there's a giant ball of death descending on him.
What was Kim Dracula like then?
Really fucking good. Like he showed me it like a week prior. Like, I just kind of found this. They were like download. Really experiment. Have you heard bits before?
I've heard bits. Yeah,
I don't know.
Like extremely experimental. It could go from like a heavy breakdown section to almost like a jazz kind of thing.
Right.
There were saxophones involved, all that kind of thing. It sounded really fucking good and genuinely.
Pure Street.
Yeah, you've sold this.
Yeah, it was a really pleasant surprise because it was like after load, it was like, oh, grab a bite to eat, chill for a bit, and just kind of sat there, had some noodles and sweet and sour chicken.
Hell yeah.
And genuinely just really surprised at how good it was, to be honest, and unexpected. And the crowd were absolutely fucking loving it as well.
James, I'm gonna check them out.
Talking about bands, but instead, should we take a break and talk about festival food?
Oh,
As James had just mentioned, his noodles. What was the best food that we had this weekend?
that's a hell of a question.
Wow. Go on.
Hadn't seen it there before. There was a toasty place. They had all different toasties named after bands. Got the Metallica one. It was actually really well priced. It was like 11 quid for some festival food. It was stacked. You didn't think it would be filling looking at it, but it really fucking was. Got that with like a little garlic and herb mayo. That was by far the best. There was a lot of good food I had. That was the best thing.
Right. Well, for me, I actually am going to be a bit of a bastard and say I can't really answer that question because nothing I ate, like in any stretch, kind of like blew me away. But I think that's I think in some ways that's my doing because the way I see it, I'm kind of there for the music. I'm trying to catch as many bands as possible. So if I see a food stall that doesn't have a queue or a very big queue, I'm making a beeline to that one because I need to be queuing less. There is normally kind of a correlation between big queues mean the food is actually good. Little queues mean the food is, I mean, that's on me.
Allegedly, from what I read online, Bunny Man's Bunny Chow is like practically voted as like being the best festival food, but also it means you got a queue for like an hour.
I heard that the rotisserie chicken place was really good as well, but there was also always a massive
I think I
queue.
suffered the same fate as Josh this weekend.
Too busy to stand in a queue for an hour
food
for a
now.
burger. Yeah.
So I just would go wherever there's a short queue, which usually just ended up being chicken and chips or something.
Yeah,
wings and fries. You know what? Actually, really good.
Yeah, I was going to say about wings and fries. I've got three. I can't really choose between. I had one of the burritos that were from like the Burrito Boys, I think it was called. There's one that you couldn't go to because of the onions. And then she had to have arancini instead.
And onions. Oh yeah, actually that arancini wasn't too bad, but it just wasn't enough. Anyway.
That first burger place we had, the one that you got like 2 burgers from for everyone. I think it was in the village, and then, then
at separate times. And
yeah.
Stick a burger.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time we've done a burger. And then after sleep token, I got the chicken wings and chips from Chicken Shack.
Chicken jockey. sorry.
I went to the mac and cheese place in District X on the way back to the tent at one point. The actual mac and cheese, whelming, wasn't that great, but
It's whelming.
But there was some maple chicken that I had with it, which if I could have had just a whole pot of that, I'd have been a very happy boy. So the side dish of some food I got,
the topping,
was the best food that I had this weekend.
Well, this was my first download since my lactose intolerance has really sort of really ramped up in the last year, unfortunately. So it's the first time I really had to sort of think about it at a festival and like deal with it. And like I know,
so I went to the milk and cookie stand.
I got a mac and cheese, got a milkshake and an ice cream.
And I know it seems obvious, but it's like we talked earlier about sometimes you just don't think about these things. But it sort of occurred to me, like, as I was walking around, of like, oh, I'll just eat at all the vegan food vendors because you just avoid the dairy completely. And I was a repeat patron of the avocado, the sushi burritos.
I saw quite a few people going around with them.
Fantastic. Just, I think I had 3 over the course of the weekend. So yeah, shout out them. Brilliant.
So what was in them? Because obviously it's not fish.
Yeah. So it was all like, the options was like, so they all came with cucumber, rice, hoisin sauce, some ginger, and then avocado, peppers, spring onions, and then there was like vegan duck was an option. Extra avocado was an option. I can't think of what the other 2 were. I think I got some footage for the vlog, but yeah, they were just.
Aren't all ducks vegan?
Stop it.
Speaking of extra avocado, split chain.
Yeah.
My goodness. We love split chain. You should too.
Yeah.
To see them, they've been a band for 2 years, and that was their output at that festival. Fuck me sideways. Did they absolutely smash it out of the park, then some. And honestly, I don't know what's more entertaining. Watching and consuming these songs that I have absolutely loved from the start, or am I loving the fact of seeing their raw, unfiltered, true, genuine reaction to the reaction to their music, their live show, because it's all so new and fresh for them and for us. Mm-hmm. You know, there's these bands that have been doing this for 15 years and, you know, it becomes second nature and it's like just whatever, it's just another day at the office. This is the exact opposite. We are watching in real time, like basically history kind of being made. I wish a long future for that band because they deserve it. And honestly, I speak for us when I say it's inspiring. I can't even begin to tell you. We walked out of that and we were literally, well, at least the Worst Wishes boys, we looked at each other and we went,
we have to do this.
We got to do that.
Yeah.
That's what we got to do. Honestly, I cannot sing their praises enough. Like, honestly, they deserve all the successes, past and previous. Split Chain is the future.
2 words to describe it: inspiring and energy. That's all I'd have to say about Split Chain. It was, inspiring and energy.
After seeing them a few times, something I noticed at that set was how I remember at Burn It Down Festival last year, that was the first show where Bert put the guitar down and was just like a straight up front man. And I think this was the first time I'd seen them since. And he's just grown into that role and really embraced it and become really, really confident. And yeah, I mean, they've only been a band for 2 years. So, or at least they've only been playing live, I think, for 2 years. So just to see them, as Josh says, just growing in confidence every single time and gaining a bigger audience every single time we see them as well, it's just awesome.
A little bit behind the scenes as well. So we do some work with some people that also do some work with Split Chain, and we know just how bloody hard they work. Like It's obviously, we can't go into too much, but their work ethic for a band that's only really been together for 2 years is insane, and there's a reason why they are where they are now in such a short space of time. So it's just testament to, if you've put the effort in and you want something bad enough, it will happen. You just got to put that effort in.
Did you see any Currents?
So I was going to say I didn't see Split Chain, mostly because I know I was going to see them twice this year with Trees, and then they're on the Landmarks bill at the end of the year at Roundhouse. So I went to watch Currents. I hadn't listened to them a huge deal, but I've been told by a few people like it should be my kind of thing. And to be honest, I was actually just disappointed. It was one of the sets to me that didn't sound great, and they didn't feel a great deal of energy on stage. And so I kind of started to dwindle out of that and actually ended up leaving that early to get a good spot for Poppy.
I've heard quite a few people saying that the sound for Currents was just a bit shit. So it probably really didn't help. I think we saw like one song as we were walking over. I think I was with you. Yeah, it was you and Alex.
We walked via Currents to get to Poppy.
To get to Poppy.
Right, well, it made a big impression on me, as you can see.
Poppy, however.
Poppy was great, though.
What a incredible first impression. I pretty much was completely blind to what her music sounded like. I think I'd heard like one song from years ago, so I wasn't even sure if that was like an accurate representation of what she's doing now. But she just, we basically just stood like halfway up the hill like this the entire time.
He's
like,
not wrong.
Like this is just
All the
fucking
audio
so
listeners
sick.
right now is like, what are they standing like?
Jaws on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing that really strikes me about her live performance was like her screams, like the delivery of her screams are so brutal and like almost like you're almost worried that she's just genuinely she's just like screaming from like the pit of her stomach with just like genuine like pain. It's like a banshee scream.
There's no way she could do that and then go into them
and
beautiful like melodic like stuff and
Yeah.
there's not even a crackle. Like she's
and then at the same
technically
time,
perfect.
at the same time as well, she just never stops moving.
Yeah.
Like she's got some like a choreographed dance routine she does. She's like moving around the stage all the time, jumping up and down, all while singing and screaming and just going crazy.
I also
It's
think
awesome.
that her band's masks are awesome. Like that sort of half balaclava sort of style thing. I thought that looked sick.
One thing as well about that set that sort of struck me, and it's something that we saw a few times over the weekend, is sort of I guess non-conventional crowd interactions. Obviously Sleep Token we'll get to in a bit, and President were there as well. And the thing with Poppy with her set, she spoke a bit to the crowd, but a lot of it was done through like pre-recorded like audio tracks in between, sort of, especially the one where it was sort of talking about like the meta of performing and like being perceived by a crowd.
Well, that
and
was the
what
thing.
that
She was like,
feels
why are they all staring at me?
Yeah. And I just felt like it, you know, it's hard nowadays to kind of do something like that is different to just being like, what's up, download? Scream for me. So like, yeah, for people to sort of have any level of like innovation with their presentation, I think is worth noting. And yeah, I thought just her entire set was really impressive.
It was fucking brilliant. And I think so far she's been the only act that I've come back from downloading. Like the first thing I put on Spotify was revisiting Poppy, basically. Fucking brilliant.
I think the next band that we made the effort to go and see was Polaris.
Yeah, we did.
You guys put in some extra effort.
Holy shit.
Fucking hell. I mean,
Talk about pitting.
I think I got four
Yeah,
crowd.
do.
I got 4 crowd surfs in during
Yeah, I think
that.
I
and
listened
lifting
Four
some-
crowd surfs, James.
Four
That's
crowd
insane.
surfs.
That's insane.
Might be a personal record for one set at a festival, to be honest.
The speed in which you went over was quite impressive.
For speed going over, speed getting back round again. It gave me the energy and reminiscence of Stray from the Path in 2023 for the amount of fucking dust there was.
Dust. Yeah, the amount of times I went to breathe in to like sort of sing along, I was like,
Dust in my
couldn't
eyes,
breathe.
dust in my nose, dust in my lungs.
That's up
like,
your ass.
But wouldn't have it any other fucking way.
No, it's perfect, wasn't it?
Um,
It kept doing that great thing where so many people were pitting. There were so many pits that eventually it would just mold into one huge pit. So you'd be in your little sort of like, I don't know, 5 metre by 5 metre circle, and then suddenly it would be 20 metres long, and you've got 400 people staring at you ready to kill you. Oh,
the amount of
perfect.
times like a massive pit would open up and I'd just spot you on the other side. And
I'm
just
always like, there he is. I'm going to get him. And
go
then
for it.
we should see,
Gonna get him.
hopefully,
Gonna get you.
some internal footage of the pits for Polaris,
Yeah.
because the wonderful Stu was running around like a nutter with his GoPro.
And
Pro filming around, and then as soon as the pit would kick in, he just disappear back into the crowd. And he also gave you the
he gave
GoPro,
me it.
didn't
We
he?
had it
He knows what
planned.
he's doing.
He was going to try and give it to me during Landmark set at Slam Dunk, but the one time I saw him, I was already crowd surfing. So he was like, right, what set are you going to be in? I want you to take the GoPro over and go have a crowd surf with it. So I couldn't find it at one point, and then all of a sudden, I think you spotted me from across the
I
pit.
grabbed
you
you,
were
and I was like,
"Stu, he's
come
over
here. Stu, come here.
Yeah. And
Now.
so, literally, like, he came to me, and I remember him coming over and was literally just like, hold on to it, don't let go. And I just looked him in the eyes, and I was like, I won't let go.
I think you went, I've got this.
Yeah. So took it over, was holding on for dear life with it, got a sick crowd. So
Turns out he wasn't recording, but whatever.
he told me it's there. So yeah, went back round into the pit, saw him again. I was like, told you I got it. And yeah, that was so much fun. So that'll be sick footage. Check out Stu's vlog for parts of it. It should be in our vlog as well. He's going to send it over. And yeah, I think Polaris are usually one of the most, like, not usually, they're always one of the most consistent metalcore bands I've ever seen, and fucking phenomenal live.
Another band that is always consistently phenomenal live, over at the main stage this year, was Don Broco. just the set list was just all of the highlights, all the hits. If you could like compile all the Don Broco songs that are the most fun live, apart from maybe Thug Workout, but Endorphins is basically Thug Workout too. They're all in that set. It was just front to back.
Considering they said they hadn't done anything for a whole year as well. That was their first thing back for 12 months. They smashed it out of the park.
Trees last year. So nearly 12 months.
Yeah, basically. Nearly 12 months, basically. Absolutely smashed it out of the park. I think every single, thousands of people that were watching it, everyone was just having a good time. And I think I said to you on the way back, give it 5, maybe 6 years, I could see them doing like a Friday headline. I think it would go off.
Yeah, I think... Go on.
I don't know what's changed, but and maybe it would have been the case whenever it happened, but Download seems to have just given a lot of like homegrown bands these bigger slots, and they all seem to be delivering.
Yeah.
And I think it's showing that the future of Download Festival is in safe hands. And thankfully, it's taken Downloads to like this long to give them the chance, but all these bands are kind of grabbing the opportunity with both hands, pulling big crowds and showing that to any doubters that they can pull huge crowds.
Well, it's a good sort of thing to show that going to the small tents and watch the smaller bands is always a good thing to do, because chances are you're seeing a band that in 10, 15 years' time is probably going to be headlining it. Like, if you'd have said in 2018 when Sleep Token played the Dogtooth, and there's probably about 400 people in there, no one really knew what was going on, that in... It was only 8 years' time that they'd be headlining the Saturday, you'd be like, oh, whatever.
It was only, I think, 2023 that we saw them in the Avalanche tent. Like the 3 p.m. slot.
Like, what? And then suddenly...
Yeah, and now they're headlining to like 80,000 people.
Yeah, so... Yeah, go and watch the little bands, because look what happens. And Don Broco said that we played, I think it was 12 years previous, I think he said. Was it? No. I can't even remember. With the first time they played Download. It might have been 12 years. He said it was the other. It was named under a different band, wasn't it? Oh, I can't remember what he said now.
It was a long time ago.
He said, well, basically, he said a long time ago we played in like the smallest tent here, and then now we're doing this. So, yeah.
I can beat the 12-year one. So I think you'll get into who you went and saw afterwards, because I think you got Mallory Knox, and I think you went to go see Darkness. At that time, Tiger and I went to go see Kitty. And they said it had been 15 years since they played Download. He'd shown me some beforehand, and it was like some new metal that had kind of somehow passed me after like growing up listening to loads of new metal, and I was so pleasantly surprised at how good that set was. It was sounding phenomenal, but it felt like as every song was getting played, they were going from strength to strength to strength, and come away from it as like one of the... I kind of had Crossface as my discovery on Friday. Kitty was my like discovery on Saturday, and I'll get to Sunday in a bit. But I was really fucking blown away by that and how great they were live.
I'm going to revisit this band for sure on your recommendation. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. We saw The Darkness, as you might remember from the preview. Super excited for this because this is a band that seriously, since I was about 14 years old, has eluded me.
And I'd big them up so much to you, hadn't I?
Right. Don't know if this was their fault. It just happens. For the guy who has like possibly the highest falsetto vocals of any other performer on that festival,
he was known for having strong vocals.
And there is a microphone or whatever vocal mix they were using where basically the moment that he started to move into that super high head voice, I don't know what it was, but there seemed to be like some cut off, and it really blew the wind out of the sails of how we kind of consumed that set. Then like kind of like like certain things, like obviously like you probably said on the set list, this is the part where Justin goes out and like jumps in the crowd, and it's just a little bit like it didn't feel like
there's no organic
the actual energy of what they were like displaying was like deserved for that moment, really. That I don't know if that was their fault. For on the whole, I did enjoy the set. Yeah, but it's one of those things where I think in a different universe that set that great set that we saw was probably like mega. Do you know what I mean?
Well, in the same universe, when I went to see them 2 years ago, it was unbelievable. Same stage, same time, everything was exactly the same, and it was like one of the best I've ever seen. This time it just like I remember stood there being like, oh, I told Josh this was going to be really good, and it just really wasn't. I was like, oh no. And it's nothing against the darkness. I'm like 99% sure it was to do with.
Yeah.
Like even at one point, he even said, "Can you guys hear me? Okay?" And loads of people went, "No," and he was like, "Okay," just carried on. So
Brilliant.
So I don't know what happened. It just didn't really hit, did it?
No,
But it probably didn't help that we've just seen some of the most amazing bands we've ever seen,
yeah.
and then it sort of got.
Also-
It wasn't as perfect as what we were hoping. So
His like really like sort of like meta jokes about how that he was poking fun at the fact that they knew that they weren't like then like new releases weren't like as relevant. Or
he said, let's not talk about numbers.
yeah, kind of aren't, or should I say maybe just no disrespect, but kind of like aren't really relevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like one of those things where they could still keep playing for the next 30 years, but they could just do like Permission to Land and stuff. And I think and the Christmas song, people just eat it up.
But as soon as he said, didn't he? These are for everyone that loves Christmas.
Mhm.
Let's go. And then it was ruined because nobody could hear what he was singing.
But yeah, while we were sort of going through that rigmarole, you were seeing Mikey and the MKs.
Mikey and the boys.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw them at Slam Dunk. I think it was last year. But awesome to see Mikey back with Mallory Knox. I saw them with Curtis, who said exactly what I felt, which was it's like they'd never been away. They sounded tight. They just played all the hits. And it was just a very nostalgia-driven set. I kind of grew up in that era when bands like Don Broco, Northern Atlantis, Death Havana, and Mallory Knox
Young
were all
Guns.
coming through. Young Guns, when all those kind of bands were breaking through, and like the UK scene was like really exciting with all those bands. And then most of them went on to split up. It was kind of a bit like what's the I can't think of the phrase, but like you either make it or you don't. And like a lot of those bands either broke through like Don Broco did, or they just sort of fizzled out and disappeared. But thankfully Mallory Knox have returned. I don't know whether they plan to release any new music, but they don't need to at the moment. If they just keep playing the hits and keep giving me that nostalgia and keep me singing along, then I'm more than happy. And again, it's a band that I haven't really gone out of my way to listen to for a long time, but seeing them live, I was immediately sort of transformed to being like a 16-year-old again, and just like I somehow knew every single word. I forget really important things, but I know the words to a load of Mallory Knox songs, so that's
Like
good.
your PIN code.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll find out about that in the vlog, don't worry.
Might not be a vlog. Couldn't film anything. Dayseeker. We saw Dayseeker.
We did. We made our way
Yeah.
over there along with a lot of other people who
I think
maybe
a lot
were there
was
just
sheltering from the rain.
Yes.
We had like our first proper downpour. It rained a little during Green Day, but it rained for about 10 minutes or so on this day. So everyone was in. It felt like everyone in there. And then
Mumsy's packing round here.
who was packed into that tent.
Was ponchoed up round here.
But I think anyone that went there with the intention of seeing Dayseeker would be happy because they were
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
And anyone that was in there who had no idea who Dayseeker were, I'd like to think they'd probably come away as Dayseeker fans because they sounded great.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're a band that have, like, they're just going from strength to strength with every release that they're putting out at the moment. And I thought, live in particular, Rory just sounded buttery smooth, wasn't he? So, yeah, really enjoyed their set. It's just a shame we had to leave a bit early to secure a spot for Sleep Token.
Speaking of extra avocados, Sex Pistols. So
I've heard mixed reviews.
okay, I'll be interested to know what that was. It was in this moment. This was like my own little like Josh quest where I was kind of on my own for the first time for the festival, left to my own devices. Sort of
How are you
perused-
walking?
Like this, adorable. I was
Yeah.
adorable.
Were
Perused
you- were
here.
your-
Yeah,
your feet going like that?
Little flat. Well, I have to make allowances because my feet are flat. So
Of course. I apologise.
that's okay. No, it's cool. It was at this point where I had to go into Impericon and buy a 50 quid windbreaker because old Muggins here forgot his rain poncho. Look, it was pretty tough. Like it's quite tough, but it's one of those things where I don't know if it'll ever it'll sit in the wardrobe and I'll always forget about it.
I just bought a £4 plastic poncho.
Little poncho.
Why didn't you just do that?
Oh, panicked.
I panicked, so I spent 50 quid.
Yeah, in a way, yes.
All right.
So that happened, and then Sex Pistols featuring Frank Carter, I think I wasn't close enough. Like, that's for true. Because I didn't want to get too far in because I needed to meet these boys for a good spot in Sleep Token. It was, like, enjoyable. The people around me... this can make or break a set. Like, it's when I saw... In the same year, I saw Don Breaker at a headline set... Sorry. Dance Gavin Dance at a headline set at Shepherd's Bush Empire, where I'm like right in there, like going crazy and all this sort of thing, and everyone's shouting around me, and I'm feeding off the people around me. Whereas where I was sat with Sex Pistols, everybody was basically just like kind of standing there, and I think all anyone could kind of think of was, shit, I really hope this rain lets up. So it didn't sort of like absolutely like hook me in. I felt like a little bit detached from it, but that's kind of on me still. Frank Carter, right? He just maybe was leaning in a little bit too hard to actually like be John Lydon rather than like being Frank Carter. Like his delivery of the stuff, you can tell. But in some ways, if he was being too Frank Carter, I think people would be saying like he's not being close enough to the true source material. He can't really win in that sense. But to hit do you know who I fucking am? I'm Frank fucking Carter at one point. No matter if you're saying that, like, ironically, that kind of really cringed me out. Because he got all arsey about... I didn't quite see... Please tell me what it was. Like, I don't know, he went into the crowd and wasn't happy about something and then stopped the whole thing. And it kind of just... as a matter of safety, that's important. But I don't know... He gets to a point now where I don't know if he's doing that truly to keep people safe, or if he's like, this is like... I'm like the man and you do as I say. I don't really know. But... I mean, it was what it was. I didn't not like it, but it didn't fucking like... I expected... I think maybe I built it up a little bit too much, and people watching me in the fucking preview going like, oh, I can't wait. And now I'm just like, yeah. Great. That's really good. You're in safe hands. I moseyed on over to Wings and Fries.
Wings and Fries. So, you guys all met up at Wings and Fries for a nice standing spot of Sleep Token. Me and Connor made the decision to get in there quite early. I think it was around 8 o'clock that we got our way in right into the pit, and we were just to the left-hand side of the stage, right near the front. And my God, we'll be happy that we got that spot, because great view, sounded amazing, and we were right in the middle of it. Like, it was... The atmosphere was unbelievable, and just turning around and seeing best part of 100,000 people just like watching was just such a moment. And from apart from the old curtain drop having a bit of a malfunction where half of it dropped about 30 seconds too early, for me the set was absolutely perfect. There wasn't a single moment in that whole thing where I was like, oh, they could have changed that, or oh, that didn't sound very good. It was just an hour and 40, or whatever it was, of just perfection for me. And
sounds like you guys had to encourage the pit a little bit.
Yeah, it was quite obvious. There was quite a lot of people in there that have only really heard of Sleep Token because of Even in Arcadia and the best and the good songs from Take Me Back to Eden. Because any time that a song from Even in Arcadia came up, about 400,000 phones just appeared, and they'd film the whole thing. Or if the Summoning or like the song Take Me Back to Eden came on, it was just film. And then Hypnosis or Thread the Needle or Alkaline or any of them songs came on, no one really knew what was... And the offering, like, for anyone who's seen Sleep Token before they all blew up, the offering was like, this is when we pit, this is when we go mad. As soon as that riff comes in, it's like, oh, here we go. It came on, and it was like no movement, and me and Connor were like, what's going on here? So we ended up being them dickheads that are like, right, pushing back, everyone opened the pit up. And then as soon as we did that, people realised, oh, we can have fun. We can actually just enjoy this and not stand here like sardines all packed in film. And then, yeah, as soon as people realised, oh, yeah, we're just going to actually relax here and have a good time, everyone else seemed around us like they were having a way better time. Very quickly established people that wanted to pit and people that didn't, and that's fine because people just move out of the way. And everyone had loads more space because all the space that people were taking up from just standing next to each other all gets sort of moulded around, and suddenly you've got all this room in the bits that people didn't want to be moshing to, where people can have a little breather and actually have a relax and a look around and actually enjoy the space.
Did it go crazy for Vor straight away? Or
no, it didn't. And I couldn't get my head around it. I was like, oh yeah, here we go. And people just, it was every single time. And also people moshing in bits that you were like, why are you moshing to this? Like the build up during the offering, people were trying to build up and the it's like no. Wait. Just wait. And then take a bite. Then we go. We're like
You tell him, man.
4 years ago, when the offering started, everyone knew what was going on. This is when we go mad. But we don't go mad during the little breakdown bit. But again, it was that there's a reason why they got such a big crowd now, and that's because of Take Me Back to Eden and even in Arcadia. So and that's the bits that people know. So
And TikTok.
And TikTok, yeah. So it did feel a little bit like none of you guys were here when it all when it used to be fun. But yeah, I mean, we made the best of it. And again, within 2 songs, people knew that if they were in our area, then we were going to be moshing. So yeah, happy with it. The only thing was, for me, I changed. They didn't play Euclid. They stopped 5 minutes before 11. I was like, you could have just played Euclid. Like, it would have gone so well with Take Me Back to Eden.
Yeah, it did feel like Take Me Back to Eden was a bit of an abrupt end to the set.
Yeah, because I just felt like, there's going to be something else. And there just wasn't. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. Like, it wasn't like I was disappointed. I was more just a bit confused. But, yeah, apart from that, like, for me, it was perfect. Lack of pyro, but, again, doesn't really make much difference to me.
Yeah.
Especially at the front, because you can't even see it anyway. It's only really people at the back that could enjoy the pyro. So, yeah, I had a great time. It was everything that I thought it was going to be. I don't think it's my favourite time I've ever seen Sleep Token. But just from talking to people around me, it was loads of people's first time. I was like, this is like my 6th or 7th time seeing them. And they were like, what? I was like, so you know, like I think they were definitely massive demographic.
I think a lot of that is down to them blowing up so quickly.
People couldn't get
so
tickets.
popular so quickly. Well, not only that, but a lot of people have probably become huge fans of them in a very short time and not had the opportunity to see them yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's great that so many people are seeing them for the first time.
And again, I think, obviously me being a bit of no one knew what was going on. Like, that's what it felt like at the time. But I go back and go, well, no, because no one had probably, like a lot of people probably hadn't even heard them songs because they've got so much to listen to that's good, that's more current.
It was crazy that they played Thread the Needle.
Yeah.
Like,
unbelievable.
Usually if they're going to play a song from the EPs, it would be Nazareth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Thread the Needle. What a nice surprise.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I think if I try and put my neutral hat on for a moment, I'm a man of many hats. I would say that a lot of the criticism that was coming their way when they were announced as the headliner was they're not metal, they're not a metal band, but that was heavy. There was a lot of moments in that set that were really heavy.
Yeah, whenever anyone gets funny with the whole Sleep Token metal thing, I'm just like, whatever. And also, if someone asks what are Sleep Token, I say they are Sleep Token. Yeah. They just make Sleep Token songs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they had to go out and defend themselves and prove they're a metal band, because, again, it doesn't matter. But essentially, like, gent breakdowns in some of the lowest tuning around.
And
being played on the main stage of Download.
The breakdown in that is one of the heaviest breakdowns you can write. Just because it's not got someone fucking doing really low gutturals over it and someone doing like blast beats. If you actually listen to it, it is the definition of heavy. Like, it sounds like it weighs a lot. do you know what I mean?
I like that. One of my highlights of the set, I have to say, Caramel.
Yep.
Yes.
I already... It took some time to grow on me when I first heard like the recorded version of it, but hearing it live as well has just escalated it even further for me. I really, really like that song.
I did like that it felt like he was sort of telling us off a little bit at the same time, because he was doing it with some attitude, wasn't he? Yeah, that's right. You listen to me now.
It was something special. My second favourite part of it was definitely that he hit the Gangnam Style not once but twice, definitely. And I'm not going to
doing his little stompy stomp.
I'm not going to hit otherwise.
That is something else I love about that band is like so many people take them really seriously, and they themselves do not take themselves seriously.
If you've seen some of the stuff that 3 and 4 have done, just like while Vessel's been singing along, they're like riding each other like horses and like grabbing each other from behind and stuff.
Also, the picture that's now going around online of them in front of the audience right at the end, you see that Vessel's he's
the
cheesing.
Biggest grin in the world. Yeah.
It's unsettling.
Yeah. He's meant to be the most emotional man in the world, and he's there like, look what we did.
I'd be the same though.
Oh God, yeah.
I really enjoyed the set, by the way. I think I maybe might echo that sentiment. It definitely maybe wasn't like my favourite time seeing them, but I definitely, oh my God. This is the thing, the contrast of the headliners was like, we loved Green Day because of the fun aspect.
Yeah.
If you actually break it down, Green Day songs are like 3 chords, and it just goes to show like it doesn't need to be like super mega complex to for it to be good. This is the beauty of art. Simple but effective. Yet then the next day you have this heavy contrast of Sleep Token that if you take it as an artistic performance and I'm not just talking the music, I'm talking everything, all encompassing, the aesthetic, the music, the deep vast lore, even the elements of discourse and controversy, and you meld it all together. And even the story of the rise of success, and or you encompass that all into the thing, it makes it this extra thing that's bigger than just the music that you're seeing in that moment. It is something special, and not to get again like super sort of maybe ahead of myself, I felt like I was witnessing history, and it was one of those moments that sort of clocked in my brain as I was witnessing it. In many moons to come, if I make it that far, and some little Timmy is like, who did you see? And I say, I saw Sleep Token headline Download for the first time, and little Timmy loses their mind because they're like, Jesus Christ, that was like historical. I truly think that we were there standing witnessing basically history.
I do think
being made.
It's the biggest success story of the alternative music scene of this generation. Without a doubt.
Easy. I couldn't think of another one where it's just gone from an idea in a guy's bedroom to headlining Download in 8 years' time. Like, what?
To be honest with you, like on a serious note, with the way that like sort of like the industry is heading right now, I think on that basis, like the next thing they probably do is probably make a country album. Right. You watch Sleep Token.
You were so serious.
Fucking hell, audio listeners, to keep a straight face through that was
tough. It's probably the one genre they haven't touched.
Let's let James speak if he can.
If I can. So I got a lot of different things with this. So I'll start with the positives I find with it. I think they sounded amazing. I think they proved any doubters wrong. I think this you could look at as a comparison to when Download made the gamble on Slipknot in 2009, and that blew them up as a headliner status and changed the level of that band going forwards. I think this is going to do a similar kind of thing with Sleep Token. They weren't festival headliners on other bills throughout Europe leading up to this, but they were in really good spots. I think this is going to change that landscape for it. And they, like I said, they proved everyone wrong, and I think they sounded amazing. I had a very different experience with it. I have kind of come to the realization, I think for me, I'm no longer really a fan of Sleep Token's music. Eden came out, we did the review of it, really solid album. I can look at it as the way that trilogy goes. But since then, I hadn't had the desire or want to go and listen to their music again until literally Emergence came out this year. So for me, going through that process, not enjoying Arcadia, standing and watching the set, I could like take myself out of it and see that this is fantastic for what it is there. But just internally within me, I just couldn't vibe and connect with it anymore. So kind of like a sad aspect with that, but kind of coming to that realization, personally, it's just not a band for me anymore, I think.
It might be that they release some stuff and you go, oh, this is sick.
Who knows? That could be in 5 years' time. They're about to headline again. They've dropped an album and I'm reeled back in. I could make the comparison with Green Day. I could remember, like you were saying, like the memory bits. I could remember lyrics to songs that I hadn't listened to in over 10 years. And like that's come back round again. I haven't enjoyed any of Green Day's releases personally since 21st Century Breakdown. But I've come back around and that was the set. Who knows what happens with Sleep Token in the future for me. But yeah, it was just kind of an interesting perspective I think I gained from that.
Headliner-wise, fun-wise, Green Day for me on the Friday was better than Sleep Token. But purely musically and like a feeling, because of where I was and, you know, the atmosphere, Sleep Token just tipped it for me. But it all depends which way you look at it. If I wanted to look at it just because I was having fun with the boys, and it was be Green Day all day, every day. But yeah, I think that wraps up our Our Saturday. We also forgot to mention we were up actually really late on the Friday because we went to see Boston Manor acoustic set and Funeral for a Friend acoustic set.
I believe during Boston Manor you had something on your shoulders.
I did. They came on for a little encore playing Angels, Robbie Williams, and Alex was very happy to be offered to go onto my shoulders. And then as I did it, they set off a big confetti cannon.
That was a nice surprise.
It was the cutest little moment ever, wasn't it?
It was just fantastic, just very heartwarming. But both those acoustic sets were just brilliant. Like, to be able to hear with Funeral for a Friend, it's really interesting because that was a band that you know, a lot of people kind of grew up with and have very, very fond, you know, deep memories with. And so sometimes when you hear a different vocalist on a band like that, it can be jarring or it can be disappointing or just not what you have in your head. Yeah. But Lucas Woodland's delivery on those songs is just so perfect. Like, he makes it his own without taking away the attention. It's an homage to what Matt, the former vocalist, was doing. Like, the whole package was just brilliant.
You were there singing your heart out.
They played bangers as well, you know, like just nothing more.
Yeah, and like the Doghouse wasn't crazy busy, but it's busy enough for there to be like an atmosphere.
Yeah.
We were sort of stood near the back, and I just sort of sat down and then eventually laid down and just closed my eyes and just listened. Because like, I'm not the biggest Funeral for a Friend fan ever. I didn't really sort of get that growing up. I just sort of managed to miss it somehow. But just listening to everything that was going on, I was just like, this is a proper moment. And like, to end the first day of music with that just felt perfect. I went from the high of having the best time watching Green Day with the boys, then I had Alex on my shoulders singing Angels, and then we just sat at the back of the Doghouse with probably a couple thousand people singing along and hearing Lucas with his beautiful voice for half an hour. It was just amazing.
Sunday, God.
We all like rolled out of our tents singing "fuck."
Yeah, we'd done so well the first 2 days to get there in time for the first band we wanted to watch, and we went with the best intentions of going to watch Orbit Culture.
Sorry, Orbit Culture,
we are so sorry.
Very good, but we started with Power Trip.
Bed is good too.
I was still in the shower at 11 a.m. and that's when Orbit Culture started. So I went, I think I might have missed them.
I just want to like give massive props to Power Trip. You fucking like absolutely smashed it. That was a solid set. I would say that they're probably like the kings of contemporary crossover. And if you think someone else kind of is doing it better in the modern sphere, then please let us know, because I want to listen to them basically. It was wicked. I don't really
huge sound.
Massive. Like I loved every second of what I heard from Power Trip. Seriously. I don't really have much more on that. We saw Ginger next.
Before that...
No, we didn't.
Before that, you finally saw The Ghost Inside.
Finally, yes. I wanted to see Power Trip, but I think their start time just got pushed back, and then it was just too close to clashing with The Ghost Inside, so I had to run on to the second stage for The Ghost Inside for my first time seeing them. And it was special. It was really like a goosebump. Like the first album I ever bought with my own money was Dear Youth. They were one of those bands that really sort of, I was big into like my hardcore, particularly like my sort of melodic hardcore in sort of my teenage years, like bands like that, and Being as an Ocean, Counterparts, and all that sort of stuff.
Landscapes.
So yeah, it was just a treasure to be able to hear like those songs live. Like, I'm not too familiar with a lot of the newer stuff, but even that just fucking went off. Just crazy.
Death Grip was sick.
But yeah, just a band that, it's just amazing. The fact that they're even able to still do it is just a miracle. So we've just got to appreciate that band for as long as they're still going, basically.
When it gets the end of Engine 45 and the amount of people like singing that kind of last refrain, like how loud that was for it was like, it just felt good. And I think that's my third time seeing them, and such a phenomenal live band. I think like deserve all the props for it.
Yeah, we saw Ginger next. We were kind of positioned at like Wings and Fries again. So maybe I didn't not enjoy it. I just liked it. I think if I contrast it to that other time we saw them, I loved that more. But that might have been because I was so drunk at the time. So that is that is not a fair test. Yeah, guys, I thought it was cool, but
I thought her vocals were insanely powerful.
Yeah, that goes without saying, really.
This, if anything, today was a really good sort of show of really powerful vocal people. Like, especially because we've got like Spirit Box and then even Korn. At the end of the day, like, it's all people that are known for their proper power and they're behind their singing. But Ginger was unreal. I think it was like halfway through, me and you were like, the amount of tone and everything that she does is insane.
Like this, I had the Crossfade thing on Friday. That's my discovery. I had the Kitty on Saturday. Ginger was my proper discovery on Sunday because I wasn't there when you guys went and saw them before. A couple of years ago, I was just kind of in awe of her vocals because it will go from absolutely beautiful cleans to the lowest of lows, and just to hear that range live after not really listening to them at all, to be honest, I was thoroughly impressed, and I thought they sounded tight as fuck live as well. So that's like one of the bands that coming out of this I really, really want to check out and delve into. And they got a tour in January 26th, so maybe I go.
Yeah, the not so secret set.
We were right.
Me and Alex went to a secret set.
But you can't tell anyone.
It was Malevolence.
I think it was in the preview that I said, didn't I? I was like, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I think I did see a thing and it might be Malev. And who was it?
And we went over to the stage and this roadwork sign was brought out that says, "There will be mayhem on this stage between these times." And alas, it was Malevolence.
It was.
The second time that we've seen them do a secret set.
Yes. Yeah.
And this was as good as the one at Outbreak.
It was brilliant. Yeah, it was just 30 seconds of no let up, basically. Like
Quick set.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, bro.
Sorry, 30 minutes.
Are you used to 30 seconds?
I'm used to 30 seconds. Yeah, they basically just didn't fuck around. Like, I've not seen a tent where like if people weren't moving, they were singing along. Like there was no one just being a sardine and standing there. Like they're just
No shade on our sardine fans.
yeah. No, shout out to my sardines. Yeah. I think that set proved to me that I think they are a very, very soon future headliner of Bloodstock Festival. I'd go as far as to maybe say next year, depending on how this next album goes. It comes out on Friday. Friday at day of
the
recording.
response in that tent was just insane.
People bloody love them, don't they?
There's something almost like tribal and like inner like. I think people's inner caveman sort of comes out to that music. Like you just lose all your inhibitions just go. You're just like, fuck, I'm gonna go fucking crazy for next
Bunga. This is gonna really annoy a bunch of people, and I mean you're gonna help me with this one, but there wasn't many sets that I saw on the weekend that I thought this is boring. Actually, to be honest with you, the absolute vast majority of stuff we watched was killer, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Meshuggah. Ooh. You summed it up like perfectly, man. Like I couldn't even.
Meshuggah was like watching Lamb of God, but they only had one fret on their guitar and absolutely no vibe.
It honestly was like monotone.
Yeah.
Basically. Just.
Yeah. I just thought like, is this it?
Oh my God.
Is this what all the hype has been worth? Like,
there's someone like literally like
someone's going.
yeah.
Literally,
Sorry.
it's like their mum's calling from the other room, like, "Oh, I can
You
smell
know, doing something."
I'm doing something. I can smell smoke, and it's the smoke from their laptop because they're furiously typing.
The smoke alarm going on in the background.
Yeah, the Cheeto fingers literally are acting as like.
He's just there making a mountain juice. He's doing it.
Oh my God.
Thanks for the engagement.
Yeah, honestly, sorry about that, but that's the beauty of music. It's art and it's subjective, and yeah, even hearing Bleed live wasn't good enough to say that set was like good. It just was what it was, and oh man, people are raging.
We're gonna have to go into witness protection after this.
Yeah.
Instead of witness protection, you could have gone to house of protection.
That's a great
Shocking.
segue.
Reverse one of his fines.
Yeah, undrink your drink now.
I think maybe my only solo set of the weekend at House of Protection. They're a band that I discovered, I think, around the start of the year. Everything they've put out has just been like just high energy, adrenaline fueled bangers. And live, I wasn't really sure. I've seen footage online of like, and it's always like rowdy, and I thought it couldn't be that rowdy, could it? But like, it was honestly just two guys going fucking ballistic for 30 minutes. Like, it was crazy. I've not seen a drummer like just get up during a drum, like a bit where it went to like electronic drums, and he just got up, just ran around the stage, did a backflip, and just got back on his drums and carried on. But like, the second he sat down was like as he needed to hit the drums, it was fucking perfect.
I'm planning up for our next gig.
They keep.
I've been practicing my backflips.
They keep coming up now in my like algorithm on Spotify, and every single time it's one of those ones where I'm like, I think this is how, and I'm like, oh, thank you, Alex, for that one. Serious.
They filled me with so much energy that I thought, I'll chance my luck at president. Unfortunately, I had to navigate the entire fucking arena from Avalanche to Dogtooth, and by the time I got there, it was just too darn busy. So
I'd made the correct decision, and I was in there, I think, 45 minutes before, and holy
I was there about
shit.
20 minutes before, and it was already full. But I just about managed to squeeze in slightly.
Yeah. Talk about anticipation. They were a little bit late going on, but I think that sort of helped because the whole crowd was sort of like, oh, what's going on? And they did have a bit of a malfunction with their backdrop. They were supposed to have president written in big white letters all the way along the back. But they started reeling it up and very quickly realised that the gap between the top of the backdrop and where the president started, when the bar was all the way at the top, it just said president just below the drummer. And I remember the guy standing there being like, huh. And so they reeled it back down, and I think they tried to sort of get it back round, but they were like, oh, can't do it. And they just cut it off and just took it off, so there wasn't a backdrop. Apart from that, everything was perfect. And when he walked on, the crowd was going mental. I think the loudest crowd noise I've heard, like I heard throughout that whole week, was during the chorus for the first song, which is called something about Father.
In the Name of the Father.
In the Name of the Father. Yeah, can hear you yet. Everyone, it was insane. I got some great footage of it. It was just nuts. The two songs that they played that no one had ever heard before were really cool. And it was just from start to finish, perfection. I think some of the best live vocals I've ever heard were.
I went to that set with like fully prepared for it to be underwhelming.
Yeah,
and to come away disappointed.
I think everyone did.
But genuinely, really, really good. Like unique enough as well. Like I know people are like claiming that they're like a Sleep Token copycat and everything because of the whole mask thing and the way that they like present themselves online. But like the sound they've got is like diverse and unique enough for it to like stand on its own. I genuinely think they're going to be a really good band.
Well, I'm excited to check them out.
People being like, oh, it's just manufactured industry plant crap.
That's what I find hilarious.
Hang on.
Calling them an industry plant.
All that is we've got people that are really, really good at their job, have got a really good idea, and we know they're going to execute it properly. Yeah. Why is that a bad thing? Why do you have to have come from nothing to work? You do all the shit stuff. They've already done that years and years ago. These guys are the best of the best, and they're doing the best of the best, and they're putting on the best shows. So why is that a bad thing? I really don't get it. Like, no one else could have had their debut show on Sunday at Download and put on a show like that and blown everybody in that tent away, unless they had some experience doing it. You're not just going to jump in and we tried and it went really well. No, you need the best of the best, and all we're going to get is good stuff out of it. So I don't really see what the problem is at all.
Back to the main stage, I suppose now, yeah. For a little band called Spirit Box.
Again, amazing, unbelievable, from start to finish. I could have seen them headlining, personally.
The one song in particular from the new ones that stood out to me was Soft Spine. Courtney's vocals during that were fucking lethal. Mm-hmm. And I was just thoroughly impressed. And like, the one thing I've always called for with Spirit Box is make use of Josh Gilbert's vocals as well. Yeah, and especially live awesome. During this. Like, that's vocals that I grew up with from his previous band, and to hear that again was just like a lovely thing to have, and the harmonies between the two of them at various points. This was exactly what I wanted the Spirit Box set to be and more. I loved it.
The fact that there was basically no production, very, very empty stage, just...
I mean, they had some cool stuff going on the screens.
Yeah, but just Courtney commanding the crowd, doing what Courtney does well.
Yeah.
And just from start to finish was just sort of in awe of how good it sounded.
Yeah,
and how good it
I was just captivated for the whole set.
Yep.
Showed the crowd in the palm of her hand.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
I didn't necessarily feel the need to pit and stuff. I was just there, taking it all in, enjoying it all. and like being captivated.
She said,
apart from when I decided I really needed a wee when I went to the toilet and came back.
She said about that in 2022 we played the smallest tent here, and now look where we are, and we couldn't be more grateful. And it felt like, yeah, look, this is where you should be. Like when I hadn't even heard of him when we first saw him in that tent. We were only in there because it was hot, I think. We were just sort of just stood there watching. I remember me, Ruben, and Tyler were stood there like, this is amazing. What the hell? These guys are sick. And then, yeah, to go from that to doing what for me could have been a main headline set.
It felt like a headline set.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, their relentless projection and push to be the best is, I think, unstoppable at this point.
Who saw Lorna Shore?
Me and James and Meg and Tiger.
Set of the day for me.
They were unbelievable.
I think the best use of like pyro jet streams, little firework things going off that I saw the whole of Down Here Festival, they sounded incredible. There was that one like blip when they were doing the Pain Remains trilogy to end it, where during the second one it seemed like someone on the sound desk just pressed mute.
It's like someone pulled something out, wasn't it?
And Will Ramos did not look
Someone
happy.
did not charge their phone.
He did not look happy about it.
Well, it happened, and they carried on for like 20 seconds, and then the crowd
Everyone's
were like,
no.
"What are you doing? Stop!" And he was like, "What?" And he was like, "Can you like?" We couldn't hear him say it, but it sounded like he went, "Can you guys hear me?"
Yeah.
And then he looked really angry and went off to the thing. And then about 2 minutes later,
2 minutes later, it was
the mic
back
came back
on.
on. He's like, "I don't know what happened, but it sounded like these guys muted us. Were we that bad?
Yeah. But then,
Are we able to play our last song?"
yeah. So we got back into the Pain Remains part 3, and it was a lovely
They
end
smashed
to
it.
it. But they sounded phenomenal. Like, saw them a couple of years ago when they were there, and I knew of like to the Hellfire because he does the pig squeals. And since then, especially in the last 6 months, I've really enjoyed deathcore and really got into them. So for me, this is like viewing it now as a fan, and I genuinely fucking loved it, and it was my favourite set of the day. I was so into it. They sounded phenomenal live, I think.
Production-wise, it's basically the exact same as what we saw when we went to see them in London.
Oh, cool.
So
it was
okay.
immense.
They
and,
had the flame shooters, but also like another layer, like near
it was
the
like
drums
layered
and
with
stuff.
the pyro.
Yeah, it was
And then
fucking
there were
sick.
points that had the flames going, then like in front, like almost like sparkle bits going off as well during moments, and
And they had that platform along the front as well.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
It just felt like, it's just fucking amazing. It was
They're so
phenomenal.
polished, aren't they?
It is.
It
It was
sounds
just
so
tight
good.
as fuck, and it was wonderful.
It was around this sort of time where, echoing Alex's sentiment, I got quite tired at this point, and there was bands that I should have been at, I wasn't. So unprocessed like novelists I missed. To be honest, I probably could have caught a bit of Lorna Shore as well. I was feeling a bit old at this festival, to be honest with you. I ain't a young gun anymore, gunning it between stages here, there and everywhere. But actually, on that note, I feel like I managed to enjoy and get more like engrossed in sets this year, because there's been too many years where I'm like literally watching, like, I'm not being funny, like 10 minutes of this, and
You're
then
thinking,
literally,
I better get to that
that's
next one.
all I'm thinking, and I don't know. So, but I didn't move from Wings and Fries. I watched Bullet for My Valentine. Now, if you're still here from seething at the Meshuggah take, so we're already off on a bad foot when they're not the headliners and they're playing like a soppy little video about the history of Bullet for My Valentine before they've even come on. That's the sort of thing that you do when you're doing a headline set. It didn't come across as endearing, in my opinion. It kind of came a little bit across like
Pick me.
before you've even started. I already feel like you should be headlining right now. That cemented it. Extra evidence of that was when we were at 2000 Trees. For some reason, Matt Tuck just exclaimed at 2000 Trees that they wanted to headline Download Festival or something like that, which was fucking hilarious. I'm not making this up, because when that happened, there was like murmurings, and I kind of looked around, and everyone was kind of just like looking around like this around our general vicinity.
There's a reason why you're headlining here,
Yeah.
not there now. Yeah.
That 2000 Trees set was really cool. I didn't know this, but they were playing The Poison in full. Doesn't really help when, again, I just missed that album. I loved Fever or whatever. That was the album that I knew like top to bottom. Oh my god, technically wasn't bad. Like they are competent musicians. Like fuck me, I can't take that away from them at all. But like as a person just in that moment, oh my god, I couldn't have cared less. Sorry, I couldn't have cared.
I agree.
Me and Meg watched it from the top of the hill, and we were just like, meh. It didn't really do anything for us.
Let us know in the comments as well. Did we miss that being advertised in the run-up as a Poison anniversary set?
I feel like I
'Cause
remember
sat there
seeing
thinking,
something
like, what
about
the
it.
fuck?
I think, but because I said to Meg, I was like, because she said, I think they just played Poison in the hole. I was like, I remember seeing, but I can't remember if it was for Download or if it was for the up and coming tour.
Well,
that I
they've
saw
been
them
doing
said
the
they were
Poison
doing it.
Ascendancy tour with
That's-
Trivium. So,
yeah.
but I don't know if they in any of the run-up to Download were.
It feels like one
advertising
hell
that.
of a mad choice to do for a sub-headline slot at a festival.
Also, I've actually just remembered that he literally. What the fuck am I talking about? He
said about
literally
it.
did say, didn't
Yeah.
he? Like, fuck. I'm going to do an American accent.
You
because-
guys are going to get us in trouble.
Yeah, because weirdly enough, like he kind of speaks an American accent. It's
They're
very.
Welsh, aren't they?
Yeah.
Someone said on the Download Facebook group what's happened to Matt Tuck's accent.
Anyway, he was like, I don't fucking care, but we should be headline. Like, we're gonna headline. I was thinking, no, you're not. Sorry, like I don't see what happens.
There was nothing about that performance that felt like a bid to be a headliner.
And also, we were already kind of at the top of the hill by the time they'd finished. And if I look out at their audience, I'm like, it doesn't take a genius to know that still this isn't enough. Like, if anything, Limp Bizkit would make more sense than you from.
I think Spirit Box probably had a bigger crowd than Bullet for
Yeah,
Love.
yeah. But apart from that, we loved it.
Yeah. Welcome on the pod anytime.
To defend yourself.
Right. Now, Fit for an Autopsy. They ripped the dog tooth a new one. Oh my god. That was like some of the sleekest like fucking deathcore I've ever seen. It was fucking brutal, like literally. You want to talk about music that sounds like it weighs a ton. Fuck me. Honestly, if you like heavy shit and you want to fucking that, do you know what? Even for me, I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, I'm not going to entertain going in that pit. It was a war zone.
I did.
Mate.
But
Fucking
honestly,
respect, lad.
Sea of Tragic Beasts, I don't think I've ever in one song had to try and help lift up so many crowd surfers.
Yeah.
It was fucking insane. Like the new songs like Hostage and Savior got played, everyone was singing along. And I remember looking back at one point as well and just seeing the tent packed, and I was like, fucking, I'm happy for these guys. I did see Joe Bad when he came out, and he did remind me of Tiger King because he had like blonde bit in his hair and the mustache. I was like, that's a bit strange because I hadn't seen any photos of them beforehand, and I was like, okay. But then immediately they went into the set.
Fucking basking.
Just
Far From Heaven was so good, man.
Yeah.
It's my favourite deathcore song, and to end the set with that,
I am
and
never
everyone
gonna
just
financially
belting it out.
Yeah. I think I just want to say it like on a genuinely serious note. I did see a group of people carry out from the pit a sort of
You said
someone.
a very young girl.
Yeah, and honestly, it was one of those things where I couldn't stop thinking about it because it looked quite bad. This is a long shot, but if you know anything about that, can you just like let us know? Because I keep thinking about it because it looked pretty bad, and I really hope, or if you're a viewer or whatever, I hope you're okay because that looked quite bad. But good on the community of Download to literally act so swiftly and band together and get that person out to get the help that they needed, and I hope they're okay.
Just on top of that point as well, before we get onto Korn, it's always very easy to critique bad security because it's always very obvious. We talked about it with the Slam Dunk one, where unfortunately that stage in particular wasn't dealing with crowd surfers very well. How was our experience this year with security, crowd surfing, and the like?
Phenomenal.
Because
Absolutely
everything
spot
I
on.
experienced was just
Absolutely
solid.
phenomenal. Every time I went over for different bands, like they were on it, it felt like they were very tight and they knew what they were doing. So from my perspective, especially like going over the barrier, couldn't have asked for anything else.
During Trophy Eyes, there was one point where about 8 people all sort of beelined for me. So I just stood at the barrier with this quite short girl in front of me and was just putting them on my shoulder and just passing them over to security as they were going. I was just like passing them over her. So then I had 3 security leaning over her towards me so I could just push them through, and that was perfect because otherwise it would have been just an absolute like carnage.
I'm now remembering during Polaris as well, because obviously the amount of dust coming through, there was someone in particular that was really struggling to see and kind of like choking a little bit, and security were like grabbing them, getting their attention, coming over the barrier to help them get out. Like they went to make that conscious effort to see someone who wasn't in a good state, who needed to get out of there, and they helped them over, which I'd completely forgotten about until like coming into this. So again, major props for that.
I think my only feedback on the security would probably be like, I suppose like protocol when it comes to like people bringing in like Yamaha DJX2 boxes from the year 2000. Like if somebody attempts to do that, just know that they're like really chill.
And a legend.
Yeah.
And also played it to you, and then you should have let them in.
I just like want to do a fun DJ set for their mates. Like
They should have put together some kind of audition system where they get
made
they
me
get
laugh?
3 of them sat at a trestle table with some kind of red buzzer or something.
What made me laugh
Chairs that
was
spin.
was that they said no sound systems, but then they were letting like you know that guy that had that massive speaker that was playing Barbie Girl and stuff that was in the crowd outside.
Next to us.
It was strapped to his bag, and it was like maybe 100 times louder than that Yamaha thing can go, and the guy was like, yeah, it's fine, just because it looked like
do you know what?
a mixing desk.
I'm only joshing, but
It would have been funny.
yeah, absolutely. Also, they're gonna have to fucking top it with the Venga Boys, by the way. Like, does Aqua still play? Like, I don't fucking no, seriously. Like, they're gonna have to fucking top
Scooter.
that. Oh, bro, that
Oh.
would actually go fucking hard.
You got the money, I got the pace. Rocking all over the world.
Cascada.
Jumping all over the world.
Or the Veronicas.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Right,
What
let's...
other one-hit wonders are
Cam,
there?
take some notes.
Europe.
Mate.
When me and Meg were waiting for Corn, we were sat at the top of the hill, and I caught the tail end of Steel Panther, and it looked and sounded great. And I hope that anyone that went that I said should go to really experience it.
You only saw the
Had a
tail
good
end of the
time.
Panther.
I know, right?
It's just a cat, mate.
Is what it is.
I'll do one more thing before Corn, which was the one clash that I had, which was against Whitechapel. Now Connor went in for it, not in him, but like in the tent to go watch it, and he said about the mix not being great. So it kind of left me feeling a bit happier. I didn't bother with that and just kind of got set and wanted to watch all of Corn. So again, minimal sound issues throughout, but maybe during that set wasn't great.
It's Corn.
Do you want to talk about the start of Corn, Josh?
It is Corn. And I can talk about the start of Corn.
When you
Josh.
exclaimed. So hang on, right, to explain it, right? We were all sat at the top of the hill, right in front of the Ferris wheel, all sort of met there for Corn. And we were sort of talking about where we were going to go, what we were going to do. And very quickly, we all established that we were probably just going to stay at the top and just enjoy it. So when it's easier to get out, 2 we're all tired, you can sit down, you can enjoy yourself. And I watched Josh watch everyone say their piece. And then as soon as the last person was like, yeah, we'll stay up here as well, he just goes, what? And then pissed himself laughing because he did. I think you didn't realise just how emotional your what was going to be, because you had it in your head that we were all going to go down.
I thought we were going to go down.
But no. No. We're not going down that hill to come back up.
So, what? Yeah, I mean, and that's fine, because I love my friends, and I also love Corn. So it's a match made in heaven. I will say I fucking, from start to finish, loved every second of that set. I don't know what it was, but it just seems like Korn as a whole, their music, whatever they do, you know when people say, oh, that scratches my brain in a particular way, it is hitting all the happy receptors. I don't know what it is, but it just hits for me so good. I was so happy. I was literally lost in it and just literally dancing and bouncing. No caring. You know when they say, you know, it's live, laugh, love vibes, so it's like dance like no one's watching. That is exactly how I fucking felt.
You were.
At the top of that hill. All right? I loved it.
And at like points, it just felt like banger after banger after banger after banger. Like I was hoping, like not deep cut, but I didn't expect them to play Ball Tongue, and I was absolutely enjoying that. Brought out the bagpipes. We got Shoots and Ladders.
Yep.
It just felt like the perfect set. And I want to say, I think it was you turned around to at one point and said they proved any doubt was wrong in terms of that headline slot. It may not have been you.
I don't remember saying that.
Someone turned around and said it might have even been you actually. Someone said it to me, and it did feel like they deserved that spot. It feels like they were owed that spot and a band that had paid their dues. Amazing. I love the lighting as well. It was so cool.
That band have been around longer than I've been alive. And I feel like when you've had longevity like that, you get to this level where you're either literally like everyone's just kind of like begging you to stop because it's painful by this point. That felt like you were basically watching masters of their craft, basically.
I saw so many people just thoroughly enjoying it of all ages as well. Like to have that span, they were like kids next to us thoroughly enjoying
that
it.
kid was moshing his little
He
heart
was
out,
going
wasn't
that, and then
His
you
mum
could
is
see the
so
older
cute.
crowd as well that maybe grew up with them more, like as they came out. Like it felt like, despite age, whatever it may have been, there was fun there for everyone, and they sounded fucking sick live.
I don't even know that many Korn songs. Like again, they're one of them bands that I've sort of managed to skirt around without even trying. But yeah, like just from a purely sound-based perspective, I thought they were absolutely brilliant. And yeah, the vibe of everyone. I think it's always hard on a Sunday because everyone is knackered. Doesn't matter if you've been there for 2 days or basically 5 days like we had. You are a bit tired, and it's like, here we go. We've got another hour and a half of stuff to try and enjoy before we can go back and sit in our little campsite. But at no point did I feel like, when's this going to end? It was from start to finish.
Enjoyment.
I enjoyed every single second of it.
And it felt like also kind of all of us being together at the top of the hill watching it, like a really kind of beautiful way to end what had been a phenomenal week of Download Festival.
I think as a collective or individually I think I've had the same conversation where this might have been our favourite Download
I think it probably is.
for music and just pure vibes.
Yep.
It was like nothing went wrong. If I had to describe Download this year, it would be organised. I don't think at any point did I feel like anything wasn't really well thought out. And it just meant that there was no stress. There wasn't anything that we were like, oh God, if that hadn't happened, we would have so much more fun. It was just day after day.
I think there's been years where we've been like, oh, I've had such a really fun time, but like there weren't that many bands I wanted to see. We've had years that are the complete contrast where, oh, I've seen loads of cool bands, but it's fucking muddy
soaking.
and horrible.
Yeah.
And
or I had to spend 2 hours every day trying to get somewhere a toilet that wasn't a massive pile of human waste.
Exactly. Whereas this year it felt like the planets aligned and like both the general vibe
Yeah.
and the bands.
Call of Duty. If you had to someone sat down with a pen and paper and I described what my perfect download would be. What's your perfect download? I think it would have been pretty much that. So yeah, absolutely buzzing.
Should we, if you can muster up your favourite set, or maybe I'll allow you 3 if you have to.
Okay,
One per day?
3 is way better.
No, not 1 per day, just 3 across the weekend. Who wants to go first?
Dan, have you got 3?
Go on then. Yeah. Sleep Token, Boston Manor, Malevolence.
I'm going to go for Green Day, Boston Manor, and Korn.
Loathe, Lorna Shore,
Just doing a drum roll.
Polaris.
Kicked on.
Yeah.
Polaris.
very closely followed by Fit for an Autopsy.
Green Day for the vibes, McFly for the nostalgia, and Sleep Token for just being happy. Oh, honourable mention to President. I can't miss that one out, but it can't be part of that.
Korn, Green Day, Crossfaith.
Wow.
Yes.
Let us know your favourite sets of the weekends in the comments, and just how your Download Festival in general was.
We have been the Ragamuffins, having our happiest download yet. The vlog is coming soon. A little peek behind the curtain. Our man Dan here had a bit of a sad time and some phone issues.
Yeah.
So if the vlog's a bit sparse at times, unfortunately, we lost a bit of footage. The
It
vlog
was
is
great.
coming soon. We've got 2,000 trees coming up. We're still on the hunt for a perfect beach party. Download as good as it was not a beach, but it was a party. The Ragamuffin Club is down below. If you want to pick up a Ragamuffin T-shirt, that link's also down below. And I think that's about it, innit?
Mm.
Who did we miss? I always love hearing about that.
Yep.
Because I'm that fucker watching where I'm like, how did you not watch that band?
Thanks again to everyone that came to the meet-up. We love speaking with you all. We hope you had a great Download Festival. And maybe we'll see you again next year.
If someone can tell us whose pigs these are.
You know the words, boys. A 1, 2. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Whose pigs are these? Whose pigs are these? They are John Potts. You can tell from the spots and I find them in the vicarage garden.
Whose pigs are
Whose pigs are these? Whose pigs are these? Whose pigs are these? They are John Potts. You can tell from the spots and I find them in the vicarage garden.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
We've been the Ragamuffins. Good night.